hopefully last night officially marked the death of the dab. I will say this, though. The dab works wonders with my little cousins. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they love to play peekaboo. Peekaboo! They love that shit. Peyton Manning became the 12th quarterback to win his second Super Bowl title in what might have been the final game of his legendary career as the Denver Broncos shut down the Carolina Panthers 24-10 in Super Bowl 50. Well, it wasn't that great of a game, but Peyton Manning won, and he's got as many Super Bowl titles now as Eli.
Yeah, well, Peyton Manning rode his horse off into the sunset. And the reason that happened was really not because of Peyton's play, but because of Denver's defense. Denver's defense won the game for Peyton and essentially, allowed Peyton to ride that horse off into the sunset, which is probably going to be his retirement. But the main story of the game was all about Cam Newton. And for the entire 2015 season, Cam Newton brought his dancing shoes to the game. But when it came to the biggest game of them all, Cam Newton didn't bring his dancing shoes. He left them in the locker room, and instead he brought his ballet shoes.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy like Cam to bring it all year, had a great season, went 15-1, two wins in the playoffs up till the Super Bowl, dabbing away, just dishing it all out, but can't take it when you lose, and that's what a leader has to do. And it shows his immaturity, and that's not what you want to see in the face of your franchise. You want to be able to own up to your mistakes, your team mistakes, everyone. Yeah, give credit to the he should have stood up there, standing tall like a man. Give credit to the Broncos. They did a great game plan against us. You got to own up to it. And we'll get them next time or whatever. Good for Peyton Manning. Even better for Brandon McManus, bringing a Super Bowl ring to Temple U, and fellow North Penn alum, local guy. So I mean, it wasn't a great game, but there was a lot of defense, a lot of turnovers and sacks and all that good stuff. So we had entertainment, and we had Beyonce a little bit in the halftime show, so that was nice. Oh, and Bruno, sorry,
Bruno.
I didn't mean to leave him out for you.
Bruno is awesome. Hey, we had a good time. It was the first Super Bowl that I didn't have to cover in the last 5 years, so I got to spend it with the Bitter Birds and their girlfriends. Saw Kelly again. Saw, God, I hope I get her name right, Brianna, because if I don't get her right, I'll get the nest stare and the fish lips next time I see her. But, yeah, man, to comment on Cam Newton, well, if you're a Cam fan, you might want to shut this off. It's great what he does with the kids. I love what he does, handing out the footballs and all that. But if you're gonna smile and you're gonna dab all season long and you're gonna dance after every first down, you better be gracious in defeat. And this guy, there was an interview he had before the game with James Brown, and he said he wanted to revolutionize the NFL. He wanted to be the Baskin Robbins of the NFL. He wanted to offer all different flavors. He wants to have, the scrambling and mobility of Russell Wilson. He wants to have the accuracy of like Aaron Rodgers. He wants to have the mind of Peyton Manning. And he wants to have the leadership of Tom Brady. Fitting that he said leadership, because what he did in his press conference to walk out the way he did, that was typical Cam Newton. That's the Cam Newton that I know. This guy, things are all great when he wins, but when he loses, he becomes the biggest sore loser in the NFL, and it's pathetic. It really is. You got to be humble in defeat. And like Jeremy said, we'll get him next time. I'll spit bullshit, whatever. And I was arguing with Carolina Panthers fans last night. Well, how would you react if you just lost the biggest game of your life? Be a goddamn professional. Name me one other quarterback in NFL history, in Super Bowl history, that has walked out of his press conference the way Cam Newton did. Nobody's ever done that. I don't give a shit if Broncos players were chirping in his ear. If you want to dish out the punishment, you got to be able to take it too. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't have said any better. That's exactly how I feel about Cam Newton too. And it's funny because, I think that all of us, we went into the Super Bowl with an open mind last night, and we really were hoping for a good game, and that's really what we wanted. I mean, we just wanted a good game. We wanted the best team to come out victorious. And then the game started, and then, then when the Panthers got the ball, their first possession on offense, we see the cameras, they turn the cam, and all of a sudden we see that Cam is praying. And as soon as Cam started praying, all of us, us, the bitter birds and our girlfriends, we were all like, screw Cam, let's go Broncos, because it was just, an act for the cameras that Cam was doing. And, I feel bad for, just think of all these little kids and their parents spent all this money to get a ticket for the Super Bowl, to have that front row seat in the end zone, to get that ball, that football. Well, Cam, he couldn't deliver those footballs because he was too busy, being in his depressed state. And when he gets in that depressed state, it really negatively impacts his team. And for me, it was a big disappointment watching Cam, play like that in the Super Bowl. So, I was not impressed with Cam at all. He really failed big time.
Who would have thought that the first dab of the night would have been from a Broncos wide receiver? I think it was Caldwell on the sidelines, got a nice long first down, quick little boom, dabbed right at the Panthers. That was great.
He just had to sneeze.
Yeah, that's it. That's true. It was happening so quick. But obviously Cam has a lot of growing up to do if he wants to continue to be the face of that franchise, and if he plans on taking them back to a Super Bowl again, he's going to face tough opponents and adversities like this. It's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows, in your trek to win a Super Bowl. You're going to have these tough matchups. You're going to have to deal with it, and you're going to have to, and I'm sure he's getting an earful, obviously, from maybe the media and maybe his coach can sit him down, Rivera can sit him down and say, hey, I know obviously it's upsetting. I'm sure he's devastated, but he still doesn't justify the way he acted in the press conference. It was just disappointing and disrespectful. You just got to do a better job at representing your team if you're the face of the franchise than that.
And something I forgot to mention too, if you want to be a leader, you better dive on that loose ball. I mean, what was that? What was that? The ball's just lying there on the ground, and he did like a dance move like Beyonce did at halftime. It was terrible. God. So, this Super Bowl, it kind of went the way I thought it would. At least, the way Denver plays defense. They're the number one rush defense in the NFL in terms of yards per carry allowed. The Carolina Panthers, they ran the ball more than any team in the NFL this season. And, the thing that I was scared of for Carolina was if you had to be in a lot of third and like 8s and 7s, I didn't think those tackles were going to hold up against Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware. And, that's pretty much what happened last night. Von Miller, living the Miller high life last night, winning the MVP, 2.5 sacks. I mean, just making mincemeat of Mike Remmers. 7 sacks total for Denver, and Cam was pressured a career-high 21 times. So that defense was lights out.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what we expected there from the Denver defense. Like you said, both those defensive ends did a great job with, getting after Cam Newton. And, really the biggest thing for the Panthers heading into the game was going to, be them scoring touchdowns on offense. They needed to get touchdowns on offense in order to win that game. And they weren't able to do it. The Denver defense just shut them down. And, really with the Denver defense and the way they played, and with Denver getting that defensive touchdown, Peyton Manning really didn't need to do much during the game. He pretty much just had to sit back there and try not to make too many mistakes. And even when he made the mistakes, the Denver defense was able to help him out. So, what it really shows is that, defense, still dominates in this league and it wins you championships. And as far as this all relates to the Eagles, if we have any, hope going into this 2016 season, probably the strongest part of our team is probably along that defensive line. So it's good knowing that we do have a solid defensive line, and under, Jim Schwartz, we could have that attacking defense kind of like Denver presented to Carolina.
Yeah, Wade Phillips brought an awesome game plan, kind of similar to what they did to rattle Tom Brady a lot. About half of Brady's dropbacks, he was hurried, and same thing happened with Cam. It was just about half his dropbacks. So he dropped back around 42 times, and he was hurried 21 times. So, and it does translate well for the Eagles fans, because we do have, that is our strong suit right now, our front seven, at least on paper. Jim Schwartz was a great guy to bring in here, and hopefully it translates. And, with our murky quarterback situation and with all these question marks, it kind of tells us that maybe we can have just a stopgap guy, a game manager type, not to ask too much out of our quarterback like Peyton last night. And obviously Peyton is going to go down as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, but he's been a shell of himself. It's pretty obvious all season. So he even had no touchdowns and a pick and a lost fumble. But the Denver defense really did their job. They had a great plan, and they made the big, strong Cam Newton look like a big, soft Fig Newton.
A big blueberry Fig Newton, very, very soft in the middle. Yeah. That's a great segue, Mike. Making this point about the Eagles' defensive line. Last night was the sixth time in Super Bowl history that the top-ranked offense took on top-ranked defense. The top-ranked defense moved to 5-1 in those games. So, yeah, as the saying goes, defense wins championships. So, that's what the Eagles are trying to build here in Philly. That defensive line, if you can pressure the quarterback, it goes a long ways towards, hoisting that Lombardi trophy. We saw the Giants, how much they pressured Tom Brady in Super Bowl 42. Similar script here with the Broncos team, the way Miller and Ware can get after the quarterback. And not even just those guys. You got underrated guys too, like Derek Wolfe, some other good linebackers they have. Brandon Marshall's one of those guys. And those cornerbacks are very stout. Probably the best pair of cornerbacks in the league, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris. Chris Harris is an unbelievable football player, probably the most underrated player in the league. So, great defense there. And, Peyton Manning almost lost them the game because he had a turnover in the red zone, and then he had another one later. So, some critical turnovers that he actually got away with. So there's that. But, it kind of segs me into this question. And this was a question that was posted on Twitter last night that, I thought was a legitimate question. And, it has to do with Von Miller and Fletcher Cox, because both these guys are free agents, and they're both going to get paid heavily, except, both might also get franchise tag, who knows. But, the question was, does Fletcher Cox dominate games the way that Von Miller does? And I'll pose that question to you guys right now.
Oh, man. That's one hell of a question. You definitely have to think about it, but, I would have to go with Von Miller. I really haven't, don't get me wrong, Fletcher Cox is an unbelievable player, but he doesn't take over a game the way that Von Miller, took over the Super Bowl. So I would have to go with Von Miller, but the one thing I will say is that I'm excited to see what Cox can do now, going to this 4-3 defense into 2016. Can Cox, turn into that Von Miller type of player and take over games like he has? So I would have to go with Von Miller, but it's a really close battle.
And just to clarify, I believe Von Miller is a free agent this year, and then Cox won't be a free agent until next year.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking in terms of what he might get. I don't know why I said what I said. I just fucked up.
He's going to get a buttload of money, Von Miller.
A buttload of money. That's what I was thinking about.
and so will Cox. And they if they have to, they'll definitely use the franchise tag on him because Miller's that great. You saw how much of an impact he can have in a game. And I'll take the Fletcher Cox side for now. I'll say that because I think that Cox is stronger against the run, and he can also be effective in getting pressure on the quarterback as well. Like I've said in a previous show, if Cox penetrates in the middle there and makes he can get a sack himself and also force the quarterback to shift in the pocket and maybe land onto a linebacker or a DN rushing in as well. Both can be very, very impactful players on that defensive line. Two of the best defensive linemen in the game, and I'm really anxious to see Cox in the 4-3 gaps instead of 3-4, and I think he's going to just munch away. He's going to eat all day.
Yeah. The way I answered this question, I mean, Fletcher Cox can take over the game at times, but not the way, in my opinion, the way Von Miller can. It's a good point, though, you make about playing the run there, but I saw Von Miller last night playing Jericho Cotchery, lined up at cornerback, basically. And he had a pass breakup. And, Von Miller is a freak. This guy is an unbelievable football player, great player, can do everything, literally. So I would take Von Miller, but that's not taking anything away from Fletcher Cox either. And if the NFL had an assist stat, Fletcher Cox would probably be leading it. The way Jeremy was saying, penetrating into the backfield, and if the quarterback has to scramble, that allows your edge rushers to take the quarterback down for those sacks. So Cox was responsible for a lot of that this year. So there you go. That's how I'm going to answer the question. So, yeah. All right, moving on. Other news. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? So many things have happened in the last week. I guess we'll talk about Riley Cooper. Good riddance. Bye. See ya.
Well, yeah. I mean, this move was in the making for a long, long time. Cooper probably should have been gone after the whole Kenny Chesney incident. When he got into some fights, brought up, the racial terms at the security guy. So Cooper probably should have been gone then. So he's finally gone now. It was a good move for the Eagles. They did it for cap reasons, obviously. I mean, you go and you look at Cooper's stats, and they're not impressive at all. I mean, this guy played in 88 games here, over 6 seasons with the Eagles, ended with 169 receptions for 2,418 yards, and he had 18 touchdowns. But really, Riley Cooper, the one play that I will never forget with Riley Cooper is that the 2012 that was our horrible season last year under Andy Reid. We were playing the Saints in New Orleans, and well, the Eagles were getting beat so bad that they decided that they were going to try a trick play, and Riley Cooper decided that he was going to lay down in the end zone. He took a lateral pass from Brandon Boykin, and Cooper actually went all the way for a touchdown, but the play was called back because of a penalty. So that's probably the closest that Cooper's ever come to doing something good in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I would have agreed with after the Kenny Chesney incident that he should have been cut, but for some reason he was married to Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly loved him, I guess, with his blocking ability, so that was pretty much all he always praised him about. And they were so close in a relationship. Chip called him Coop all the time. It was just that they were boys. But once Chip was gone, this was already written on the wall that this was coming, that Riley was going to be gone and frees up about $3 million in cap space. He got paid way too much money with that contract a few years back. In the past 2 years, he made $9 million. He had 76 catches out of these last 2 years. That translates to over $118,000 per reception for Riley Cooper, and that is just sickening that someone as bad as him got paid all that just for every time he caught a ball. Like, the math says it all right there. Bye, Cooper.
At least he got $10.88 per block, so he made up in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll keep going. Well, basically, people were wondering, why didn't they do this sooner? Well, the reason why he was kept for the team this year, if you would have cut him before the year, the cap hit would have been actually more than the actual salary. So it was better off just keeping him, But, hey, turned out he was actually one of the better receivers on our team. That's how bad we were.
Yeah, geez, he probably ranked as probably our third or fourth best wide receiver with the yardage that he had last season, which is pretty sad. But I mean, this past season, Cooper, I mean, just so many missed opportunities. He, so many deep passes that he dropped, and really proved to be key drops. So it was only a matter of time before Cooper was out of here. So I think we're all happy. This is one of those other moves here in Philadelphia where about 99% of the fans are going to be happy with this one, because we all knew that Cooper, he was trash and he definitely wasn't coming back. And now that Cooper's gone, the next guy they better get rid of is Josh Huff.
Yeah, it was sad that Cooper, I believe, had more receiving yards than Aguilar and Huff. So I mean, that would put him at our second receiver. Not including, Ertz had obviously more, and I think Selleck was right around 300 some yards. No, Selleck I think had closer to 400, and Cooper was at like 327. So yeah, put him as like our fourth guy behind our tight ends and Matthews. But still, he's pathetic. He stinks, and I don't think he's going to get another job in the NFL. So
yeah, he will. Chip will hire him.
Chip, maybe, because he loves him. That's Chip. If not Chip, nobody else.
He's a great blocker. The best blocker in the NFL. He's great. Outstanding.
They're not here. They're here for their hands first. They got to catch the ball first. Blocking is.
Yeah. Well, you got to use your hands to block.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. So there you go. Let's move on to Nick Foles now. Oh boy, this ridiculousness about Nicky Foles coming back in the fold, possibly. Well, it was reported over the weekend that by Adam Schefter that the Eagles are not planning on using their franchise tag on Sam Bradford, and then that led to a report that the Eagles are possibly interested in bringing back Nick Foles to Philadelphia. That talk kind of heated up again today. Adam Schefter, again saying the same thing. And, that's also led to other beat writers in the Philadelphia area, like Matt Lombardo, for instance, saying that, Doug Peterson is enamored by Nick Foles. He's the guy that wanted to draft him when we drafted him, and he likes him. So Nick Foles might be coming back to Philadelphia. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Geez, this is one of those things that was like, so it's Super Bowl Sunday, you wake up in the morning, look at your phone, and you have that alert from ESPN, Adam Schefter, and it says, the Eagles aren't interested in putting the franchise tag on Bradford, and then it says, but they're interested in bringing back Nick Foles. And it's one of those things where you're just waking up from a nice sleep, and you have to sit there for a while and say, wait, is this a nightmare or am I still sleeping? What the hell is happening? So we go into the Super Bowl. We're watching, Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, play. And here we are in Philadelphia, worrying that the Eagles might think about bringing back Nick Foles. I think that if this actually happened and the Eagles brought back Nick Foles, well, the front office, they might only be down to Donahue because there's a good chance that Laurie and Roseman will both be shot and killed. And,
by me.
So be thrown off the bridge. So, Jesus, please, let's not even have Roseman think about this at all. This is just not the option.
Oh man, Nicky Foles. He's a guy you want to have as a close friend, somebody you can rely on, count on, hang out with. He's a fun guy, super nice guy, but he's just not a great quarterback in this league. And the fact that the report came out exactly like Mike stated, okay, we don't want to use our franchise tag on Bradford, we want to bring back Foles. It's exactly undoing the move of the mad scientist himself, Chip Kelly. And it just goes to show you how sour our front office is about the whole Chip Kelly as the GM year. And I don't know. I just don't think this is to be a big step backwards, and it wouldn't be taken well to the Eagles fans. They wouldn't like it. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't. All these reports. I mean, who knows what to believe? I mean, just bring on the draft and free agency. February 18th, the franchise tag can start, and it goes till, I guess, March 1st is when free agency starts. So the next couple weeks, we'll see a lot develop, and we'll, all these reports might just be blowing smoke up our asses. So, you just got to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, reports, you can't really trust anything out there, but god damn, this is scary shit, man. this really is, and just even reading some of the stuff that Matt Lombardo tweeted. Matt Lombardo is with NJ.com, by the way, and he's saying his understanding is that if this goes down, Nick Foles would be the guy. This means no drafting a guy. It's not even to bring him as a stopgap. It's for him to be the guy. That to me it's incomprehensible to do that. I just don't, please. God, is it possible to fire a head coach before the season even starts? Is it possible to fire the whole team? Is it possible? God, they can't do this. It's just beyond stupid. I know he was 14-4 as a starter here, but that was all Chip. He was a product of Chip's system. That's all it was. Clearly.
Yeah, this Doug Peterson offense is not the offense for Nick Foles. So the fact that we would even think about bringing him in here is just stupid. I just don't understand it at all, really.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he would be, that the report Adrian just mentioned, that he would be the guy, I mean, he's not the guy for any franchise. He tried to be the guy. I mean, the Rams offense was a mess. That was just all Todd Gurley's show for a while. I just don't see it. Well, it just seems so weird that we would bring him back after we traded him. I just don't. I mean, I know it was when Chip Kelly was in charge, but I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. And the fact that you wouldn't draft a rookie as well to kind of, groom, I just don't believe it.
Yeah, and the other tweet here is, I'm reading it right now. The thought within the organization is that Foles' regression is due to the situation, system, and coaching in St. Louis. There is some truth to that. I mean, it's not a great situation down there. The the offensive line isn't that great. Greg Robinson has not panned out as the second overall pick. That offensive line is struggling. They don't have a lot of good receivers. But I mean, it's the guy is not a top 20 quarterback, top 25 quarterback, might not even be a top 30 quarterback. I will say this though, in Nick Foles' defense, I don't think he was as horrible as it was portrayed he was. I think the first month he played pretty well, and then things kind of fell apart, and then he got taken out of the starting lineup in favor of Case Keenum. But I mean, Doug, what do you see in him, man? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you talk about the situation that Foles had there in St. Louis. Well, geez, I mean, if he came here, I mean, we got one wide receiver. We've got an offensive line that we're trying to rebuild, so it would just be almost a similar type of situation. So I don't understand why they would do it. Yeah, this is not the move that I would make if I was the Eagles organization at all. I mean, yeah, not a fan of this. So let's pray to God that these are just rumors, that it's nothing. Yeah,
bullshit.
It's got to be. Because the thing that I really, why I doubt this report is because, first off, I don't know how all the financials would work in this deal, but I don't think that they would match up and it would work out. And plus, all the local media reporters here in Philadelphia kind of have denied the report, saying that the Eagles aren't interested in Foles, going against the national report. So I trust the local guys on this type of stuff, and they all seem to think that the Eagles are not interested in Foles, and it's really all the national guys, blowing this up.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's going to happen, but if it happens, I'd be all for a tank for Watson if Foles is here for the 2017 draft.
Well, I hope, but the problem is the Schwartz is with us, and
he'll win 8 games. We'll win 8 games just with our defense.
Yeah. So there's a dilemma here, if you want to tank. All right, let's switch topics. Let's talk about Vinny Curry. I don't think we talked about him last week. He got extended, got a nice little extension. 5 years, $47.25 million. A lot of money for a guy that's been a career backup, but I think he's due to, really kind of reach that ceiling now under Jim Schwartz. There's a risk to it, but I think it was a good signing, I guess. I mean, he did get overpaid. He's now being paid like the 11th highest defensive end in the league. I mean, he's right before Derek Wolfe and guys like Jarrell Casey, guys that are better football players than him. But we'll see. I think he should thrive under Jim Schwartz, get 10+ sacks regularly.
Yeah, I mean, hell, for Curry, this is an outstanding deal. I mean, you really don't see this too often, where a guy that's really been a backup for most of his career in the NFL is able to come out and get such a great deal like this. And really, he was able to get this deal was because of the whole Jim Schwartz factor and, switching to that 4-3 defense. And, Vinny Curry even said it in his press conference that really switching to that 4-3 defense and having Schwartz here was the whole reason that he got this deal. So, you got to hand it to Curry. I mean, getting all that money, good for him.
Yeah, it's kind of like the rest of the guys that we signed: Lane Johnson, Zach Ertz, Vinny Curry. Now they all kind of got a lot of money, where they haven't really completely met past their ceiling yet. So, we just hope that we obviously have confidence in him now that he's in the 4-3, and I think Schwartz will really put him in the best position to make him thrive.
Yeah, looks like our little cameras are all fucked up right now. But my worry with the contract is him in the running game, because teams are just going to run at him every game, and he's going to have to step it up in that aspect. I mean, that's not one of his strengths. Whenever he was on the field, it was strictly to rush the passer. So he has to get better there. But there are encouraging things that I see happening with him here. With I see the Eagles. I see them using him kind of like the Giants used to do with Justin Tuck. I can see some situations where they have him lined up as a defensive tackle, and you can have Barwin rush the passer as a defensive end. So what do you guys think of that idea?
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. So it's, that's also something that they could do there with Curry. I mean, like you said, him against the run is the biggest concern. So you can hopefully, with the off-season thing, he can work on that. And that's what they're really going to need him to step it up in their running game.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great option. I think Connor Barwin's athletic enough and versatile enough, and so is Curry. That Jim Schwartz, he said he's not married to one type of scheme. He'll mix and match guys. So use some different formations, and I think it'll be great. And Vinny Curry, so happy for him. He's a local guy. He's been a lifelong Eagles fan. I mean, you gotta love seeing that. And I hope he just has a lot of success. I'm pretty confident in it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just gotta hope for the best. I mean, easy to root for the guy. Lifelong Eagles fan. I just wish he would have got a little less money, but whatever. We got him locked up in the long term, so we'll see what happens. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? I guess we'll delve into Cox a little bit, even though we kind of have brought his name up in the past. The reports out there that he's looking to make at least $100 million. I mean, that's insane, but not surprising at all. And there are people who are actually complaining about this, which is just shocking to me. I mean, this guy's one of the best players in the league, top 3 defensive tackle. I mean, he's going to get paid like it.
Yeah, I'm not really worried that much about the Cox situation because they've got some time here to work out this deal. It's no rush with him, really. Whenever they can get it done, get it done. He's still under contract for the season, so not worried about it.
Yeah, we can always have the franchise tag next year. We have the fallback, but I just want to get them locked up as soon as possible. But these things take time. Like Howie said, there's a lot to work out with. It's a huge deal. When you're dealing with 100, he's probably going to get 95 to 105 $million contract, 60 to 70 million guaranteed. So there's a lot to go into that as far as how to interpolate to prorate the contract and make it salary friendly and all that. So it'll get done. I mean, we know he's going to be here, barring any disaster. So.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the point there is even if you don't sign him this year, you can franchise him next year. So, not really too worried about this situation at all. It'll get done when it gets done, and when it gets done, I will love it, and I will buy my Cox jersey, and I will wear it every day. Every day, every hour, I will sleep in it. I will bathe in it. I will wear it all the time.
Yes, definitely.
That's my first purchase. I'm just waiting. Can't wait to buy that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, in other news, LeSean McCoy is in the news again. Popping bottles of champagne, getting into fights because of it. Jesus Christ, this guy.
Yeah, well, he got a little bit too angry because the cops were getting a bottle of champagne before he was and his crew. So McCoy got pissed off. Now this happened at about like 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. So there's a good chance that McCoy had plenty of bottles of champagne before the incident. So he did not need this bottle of champagne. We know from the past that McCoy is not a class act. The whole tipping incident at one time here in Philadelphia. And, now he's back again in Philadelphia causing trouble. And, now this incident is really disturbing. The reports are that some of the officers got some fractured skulls, broken noses, some serious issues. So, not a good move by McCoy.
Yeah, it's funny. He has to come back to Philly to get in trouble. There's not enough to do in Buffalo. But yeah, it's a serious offense, and he is an idiot. Loved him as a player, but I mean, come on. He thinks he's better than everybody else. He thinks his shit doesn't stink. He thinks he deserves everything. And no, this is all being investigated. This is all just speculation. There's no one has been arrested or anything yet or charged, so we don't know much yet. I'm sure more will surface soon. Apparently there is a video of it happening, and McCoy is seen in the fight, so we don't really know until the investigation continues, but this is a major issue, and I thought he'd grow up a little by now, but apparently not.
No, not at all. No, it's shady, man. That's what he does. But I love him as a running back here. I'll say that. All right. Well, last thing before we head off in the final thoughts, we had a good halftime. Well, it wasn't a good halftime. It wasn't a good halftime show until Bruno Mars came on, and then he killed it, and he danced awesomely. And I've been practicing his moves all day, perfecting them in front of my mirror. And I broke the mirror at one point. I had to get a new one. And the other part, commercials. All I got to say is Puppy Monkey Baby.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that, you think of Pug Peterson when you think of that commercial.
Yeah. We need our mascot out here for Puppy Monkey Baby. That was great.
Go get him.
3-in-1 Mountain Dew commercial. They decided to throw together a pug face and a monkey body with a diaper and baby legs. Whoever thought of that? Hey, give them credit.
Genius.
I also like the bouquet toss and the Odell Beckham catch from the girl laying out for the bouquet, and Odell Beckham being there. That was kind of funny. I like that one.
Yeah, that was cute, but the Puppy Monkey Baby just take. Oh, it was hilarious. I laughed hysterically at it. Awesome, just well done all the way around. The only thing I would have wished I wish it would have danced. I wish it would have had some moves to it. Then it would have just had me rolling on the floor. But very, very good commercial. I'm sure we'll see more vignettes of the Puppy Monkey Baby in the future, and I will be damn sure looking forward to it. So I can't wait. And yeah, again, Coldplay, you suck. Bruno Mars, Beyonce, they carried the halftime performance. Lady Gaga did a pretty good rendition of the national anthem. Thank God she stayed under 2 minutes and 22 seconds because it helped me win the prop bet pool.
Yeah, man, you dominated that prop bet pool.
Hey, I was only down by 3 points. I had 37. Couple, if I would have changed it, if I would have had a couple different ones, we might have had to go to that tiebreaker.
Yeah, well, if I had a couple different ones, I could have really dominated.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah,
at least I still won.
That was really fun doing that because during the game, every time, because there's one where if the ball hits the post, there's another one of. There was one of Broncos player doing the dab, for instance. We were looking at Beyonce's shoes at halftime. They were black, and I won that. So there was a lot of cool different things that it was just cool, knowing what your bets were and just cheering during the game because of it. So that was a great idea, Mike. We should do it again next year so I can dominate it again.
Yeah, then we'll see next year if they have an animal in the first commercial.
Yeah, that was up for controversy because we didn't see an animal in the first ad, and apparently it counted as it was. And I was like, oh, what's up with that? But
And then they
it was a
changed
great
it
time.
later.
It was
Yeah.
a great time, and I thank Mike and Kelly for hosting that. It was a good time.
Yeah, the food was tremendous. We had pizza, we had wings, peanut butter flavored beer. It was a great time, and chips, salsa, all the good stuff. Pigs in a blanket. I mean, Kelly just did a great job of cooking. She made a brownie that had a football field on it. Great job all the way around. And Mike was a gracious host, a lot more gracious than Cam Newton was.
That's right, exactly. And I wore my dancing shoes. I didn't wear my ballet slippers.
And there were no fig Newtons being served, so that's good. We're done with the figs.
No figs, no fig Newtons. All right, it's final thoughts time. We'll just go really quickly around the circle and we'll get out of here. So, what do you guys want to say?
Yeah, my final thoughts are that Johnny Manziel needs to find a new career because it looks like that football, drinking, and beating up women is not going to work for him at this point. So maybe he'll become a clown, maybe he'll become a fisherman, but it sure isn't going to be an NFL quarterback.
Well, my final thoughts are easy. I got to throw a shout out to Brandon McManus scoring 10 points, 3 field goals and an extra point, I believe. And fellow Temple alum, local guy from Hatfield, Lansdale area. I mean, great job. He was a great kicker and punter for Temple, and I'm just so happy that we have another Temple out with the Super Bowl ring. And there was a video. There it is. There's Hooter the Owl. He said as soon as he gets his ring, he's coming back to like North Penn High School and showing everybody like he just loves his area, loves his Philadelphia area, hometown, and just class act guy, great kid. Happy for him.
Yeah, I mean that's where I was going with my final thought. Huge shout out to Brandon McManus. I mean, I remember watching him at Temple, and when he was at Temple, he was also the punter. And he was a good punter too. But never in my wildest dreams did I think he would, not only go off into the NFL, but win a Super Bowl. I mean, just incredible story there. McManus, great job, man. Great job. Represent the T, baby. A couple years ago we had the pot roast in the Super Bowl, but unfortunately things didn't go very well that one. So, but Temple represented last night very well. Brandon McManus, he did not boink one off the post like Graham Gano did. So, great job, man. Awesome stuff. So, go TU, baby. And there's also I believe the proposal was made today about getting a stadium there in North Philly and Temple's campus. So, huge strides moving forward with TU, and it's awesome. And I can't wait, man, because the way the Eagles are looking right now, we look like shit. So, at least Temple, at least I could cheer for them.
Yeah, even Matt Rule was saying how easier the recruiting process was this year, and how many more great local products wanted to come to Temple. So, it just shows how great a job he did last year with our team, and what it does for the future of our program. And hopefully we stay competitive and great for years and years to come.
Yeah, they actually just recruited the number 13 quarterback in the country. He was originally committed to go to Rutgers, but then they made a coaching change, and he decided that his talents best fit what Temple wants to do. So that's awesome to go get that kid. I forget what his name is off the top of my head, but he's like 6'3", 6'4". What's that?
Archbishop Wood guy, right?
Yes, I believe
I
so.
was watching highlights on him, and he looks like a stud, man. He could be really good. So Temple's actually in a good situation right now with the quarterback position because they have P.J. Walker for another year, and then they could really develop this guy from Wood, and then he could be the next guy after Walker.
Boom.
Love it.
Boom. So national championships coming to Temple and North Broad Street. Happening.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that'll be the day. Could you imagine if Temple wins the national championship before the Eagles win the
For
Super
the
Bowl?
Eagles. Oh, man.
Oh man, you know, speaking of that, you know, it was great. You know, well, it wasn't great actually, but looking at all the Super Bowl MVPs come out, no one's an Eagle, and I'm just thinking to myself, I just hope by Super Bowl 100 that we'll have a guy walk out as an MVP. God, that would be the day. You want to talk about
Please.
Super Bowl? You want to talk about Super Bowl babies? I'm gonna have like triplets. I'm gonna be fucking so hard.
That's right.
It's happening. So there you go. All right, we're done. We're done. It's over. Super Bowl 50 is in the books. The 2015 season officially in the books. And Cam Newton is a bitch. So there you go. For Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton, I'm Adrian Fedque. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week.
But
Peace out.